2 antifreeze and 1. So when the hood is off, that means something's fixing to go down. And that is the engine. Getting ready to get it out of here. Finally can see what I'm doing without that big hood on it. But before we do that, I'm going to get off these pace wheels, pace car turbo wheels actually. And we're going to put on the snowflake wheels. And I'll show you what we got. Full set snowflakes. Those are actually the center caps off of those wheels. And we got some vintage Winter GT Winston tires. They're kind of older tires. I kind of put them on the rims. I'll throw a picture on there. We cleaned the rims up. They were real funky. We used some of this, not sponsored by them. It's heavy duty wheel cleaner. Who is it by? This says custom factory wheels. Just says heavy duty wheel cleaner. Anyway, picked that up, auto store. And it got off a lot of that mold and mildew. These wheels really need to be polished. They got 1 or 2 little nicks in them, little curb nicks, and they really need to be repainted in the center part, which they had these in gold and yellow and red and blue and black and all different colors. So we might paint those black to go along with the car. But I'm going to go ahead and put all 4 of them on there because I'm just dying to get these off because I don't really care for the turbo wheels anyway. So I got it up in the air a little bit. Go ahead and snatch those off and we'll get the snowflake rims on. Now that looks like a car. That is the look that it needs to have. So got the snowflakes on with the winter circle tires, vintage 15-inch raised white letters, and yeah, she looks very happy now to have those on there. So at first I didn't want to go with the honeycombs, the snowflakes. I wanted to go with the rallies, but I changed my mind. I have the rally wheels on the other car with the beauty rings, but I really want to go with these. So this is the look it's going to have, like every typical other Trans Am, but we're going to do it. We're going to do it the way the Trans Ams are, unless it was a non-turbo car. But yeah, so that's going to be it on that part. We got the wheels, tires on there, so we're going to move on back to get ready to yank this old dog out of there. Alright, so I started unhooking the wire harness on this thing. I think one or two guys had commented, is either on Facebook or YouTube, that I should keep the original harness and tuck it back. But it's been really chewed on. A lot of the plugs are breaking off as I unplug them. I mean, somebody's been already messing with it because they got some stuff labeled like alternator. So this harness is pretty dried out. So I'm gonna try and tuck it back. This is ground out of the way. I really would like to just do away with it. I'm not going to change it back to a turbo car. I mean, I'm pretty sure if somebody buys it, they're not going to change it back to a turbo car. We don't know if the computer is actually good in it. A lot of these vacuum lines and stuff are just dry rotted and, I mean, falling off. So I'm really thinking about just doing away with a lot of that old wiring, because it's going to be hard to tuck it back where you can't see it. I mean, I probably can, but it's time consuming. To get the distributor cap off, you got to take off the blow off valve. I guess that's what that is. You got to take this off. So got the cap loose. These old cars got a lot of wiring that they put on them back in the day, even the oxygen sensors. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that off, get the distributor cap off, and got to unhook some other stuff around the engine and the exhaust pipe, which is already loose going down there. Probably have to cut that off. I don't know if it's got a flange on it. If not, we'll just whack it off. We're not gonna reuse it. And I said whack it off. Cut it off. And get this thing out of there. So let's see what we can do. So I finally got the distributor cap off, and look at the middle of this distributor cap. It is totally melted. And then the middle of the rotor button is totally melted. So this thing probably wasn't running right anyway, or if it ran at all, but it's still mysterious that it's got water in the oil. I think somebody commented somewhere that it could have been a flood car. That's the reason why the front of it's all rusted. But I mean, this thing, that rotor button shot. I've never seen a rotor button burn like that before. Maybe just the metal tip break off, but not the whole button burn out. So anyway, engine's still locked up, so that won't do us no good if we did replace it anyway. But moving on. All right. So got all these bolts loose, all but one bolt on the front cap here. I went ahead and just started taking this off. I'm gonna get this off of here before I hook up the chain and stuff for the engine. I still got to go up under the car, but I got to look and I said I might as well go ahead and snatch this off here, and then we'll get the radiator support out, and that way we can just pull the motor and transmission straight out. I got to pull the radiator support off anyway because it's no good. So just come right off. big of a job. It's kind of wedged between the frame. It has this rod that runs straight across. I think if I take that rod loose, it'll let those frame bumper brackets open up a little bit. I thought it was just going to be a 1, 2, 3 job. Evidently not. I really didn't want to take the front cap off. Stared at it for a couple days. Deep well socket. Figure if I just pull the whole thing off, I can keep up with all the brackets and stuff. That bolt's super tight. Let's see if we can wiggle it off. I think I got it. It's holding it. Doing loose. What it is this rod that runs straight down here. It's got it pulled in tight. Let's see if we can get a ratchet on there. Holding it. Might have to get a pry bar, pry it out of there. I didn't think it was going to be that heavy. Actually, I probably could have just took the front cap off of it. I think it's just I was screwed in at the bottom. Some snaps. Could have took the rubber off. I know this probably not be the right way of taking it off, but just try to keep it together. Oh gosh. Woo. That is heavy. Oh. Woo. Oh man. Whew. Front cap is off. Now we can get a good look at that radiator support. where it's rusted out. Right up in there. It's rusted out really, really bad. On that side is good. It's always this side where the battery is, because the batteries, people leave them in there, and that acid just eat the metal up. Plus, you know, water, but really that battery acid will corrode that metal. But you see, that thing is toast. So we're gonna be removing it. I think I can get it out of there with the fenders still on the car. I'm not really ready to take the fenders off, but I gotta do what I gotta do. I don't want to run it like that because the battery is not going to sit in there flush. It's going to look bad. So the best thing to do is just pull it out of there. Now you can buy these radiator supports brand new. I think I've seen them online for, I think $300 or more maybe. I have to look again, but you can buy this whole section new. But I have a pretty good one. It's got a little rust at the bottom. Just got to be painted. This bracket here is completely rotted away from the bottom of the radiator support. I got another one of those that holds your cable and your horns, and also that brace right here bolts to it. So basically that's it. Oops. Like I said, I really didn't want to take this front cap off, but to fix it right and to get the engine out without having to have a stenching on my cherry picker, if you watched the, I think that's a 79 Trans Am I did, 79 or 80. If you watch that video when I put the engine in on my cherry picker, engine horse, whatever, I had an extra beam ran out really far to dodge this front cap so I can pull the engine and transmission. Well, it didn't have an engine and transmission in it, but to put it in, and the car was freshly painted, so that was kind of sketchy. And I think someone commented that I should have just pulled the front cap off, but the car was freshly painted, so they didn't want to scratch it up pulling it off just to put the engine in. So we doing it this way, like I say, because I got to replace the support anyway. So she's faceless right now. So I'm gonna move along. I guess I'm gonna oil all these radiator support bolts up. It's kind of held on by the fender right here. It's a couple, look like what's that, 12 point? Got some 12 point socket head bolts, and look like some maybe 1/2 inch. Had to undo the wiring harness. I think I can slide that thing out without taking the fenders off. It's got some rubber bushings down here at the bottom. They're completely rotted, and there's one of the bolts there that bolts it to the frame. So basically you got one bolt that holds it to the frame, and then you got these upper bolts with the fenders that holds it up top. So you would think it'd have more support than that, but I already got new radiator support bushings. I had those for the other car. We'll be putting them on there. So I got to get the condenser core out of there, which I could just pull it out with it just to save some time, but I might snatch it out of there separately. Take the hood cable, well, hood cable, all that stuff can just stay on there. I might just pull the whole thing out, disconnect the AC lines, and just pull the whole thing out. Like I say, all the bolts and brackets stay together until we get the new one ready to go in. So I'm gonna work on snatching that out, try and lube up some of these bolts, and I get ready to get it out of there, show you what it looks like. So got out the air conditioning condenser core, And this radiator support is really, really toast. This car had to be sitting in a puddle of water. I don't think that is battery acid. I think it was nosedive kind of in some water. You can see right here I got the bolts loose. It's just that one little piece of metal holding it on. This side over here I'm gonna have to cut the bolts out. They're completely rusted to the fender. And then I just got these two bolts that go straight down to the frame, that one there. And then this one over here, I got the top bolts loose. So hopefully I can just slide it right out of the fenders and leave the fenders on the car. If I get those two bolts loose, and then I gotta, like I say, cut those two bolts, that one and the one behind it. That's what holds the bottom of the fender. This side over here is it's loose. So I'm gonna go ahead and cut those bolts and get this rusted piece of metal out of there. Alright, so I got the two bottom bolts out. I had to cut one of the bolts out of this side at the bottom that the fender is held on by. The other one, I got it out. So let's see what it come out of here. I think I got it, it's pulling on it. I got it loose. I sprayed a little WD-40 on each end up under the fenders. So let's see, can we see a problem. See a problem. You want to catch each side of the fender. Man, that's going to be an issue. Might have to take the fenders loose. I didn't really want to. I might get by taking them loose up front on the sides, but I think I'm going to have to. It's not going to come out. I didn't know that each corner of the radiator supports is tucked behind the fender. Yeah. See, I take the saws off and cut it in half. I mean, the thing ain't no good anyway. Slice it, shook, right down the middle. I didn't want to disturb the fenders because the gaps. But I am. So they got some bolts. I'll show you. There's some bolts back here. There's one right there and one on the other side. Maybe I can take that bolt loose and take the top bolt loose, and that'll allow it to swing out a little bit, because it came right here and was pushing against that. Then I can tap that back a little bit. That's nothing. But I didn't know how far back that radiator support is. So let me get those bolts loose, and I think I can get it out of there. All right, so I got those bolts over there loose. I got the top ones loose over here. I gotta take the inner fender bolts out and hose it to the frame. Should be ready to come out of there now. Oh yeah, there we go. Should get enough clearance. Got rust falling in my shoes. All right. She is out. She is out and very rusty. Very rusty. Now we can really get to the engine. But look at that. That is gone. This side over here wasn't too bad. It's always that side though, but you can see right here where it's starting to rust. Got a little bit of the fender down here, but it still can bolt it back up. That's good. So my plan is to get the engine out and sandblast the frame. I'm gonna take the inner fenders out, and that one's got some rust on it, which I have some more, but I don't know if they're any better than that. You can still get 2 bolts in it though, but maybe we'll try and find a better one. This side over here is perfect. So yeah, now it's time to get the motor mount bolts out, undo the power steering. Really that's it. Motor mounts, power steering, hoses. I'm just going to take the whole pump off so it won't be dangling in the way. And get up under there, do the exhaust, drive shaft, transmission linkage. I think that's it. So I'm going to bolt those fenders back up for now. Put the bolts back in them. Like I said, I didn't want to take them off. I really don't want to take the fenders off of it. I'm going to try and clean it up as best I can. I don't really want to mess with the gap. The gap is all factory. And once you start fooling with it, it's hard to get that gap back where the doors are clear. Being that these fenders never been off, I kind of want to keep it factory. I don't see any rust under there. No reason why I really have to take it off. I know this fender's got a dent at the bottom, which probably can be pulled out. I'm not sure yet. So worst come to worst, I might have to take one fender off so that dent can be straightened. But I'm going to go ahead and get this thing outside, out of the way, and start back on unhooking stuff on the engine and get it out. So just hang tight. So I brought in the radiator support we're going to be using. The only thing that was damaged on this one was somebody had put too big of a radiator inside of it, and they took a hammer and they smushed all this back so it can fit. As far as rust, really good on that side, which is this is the battery side. The middle support's good, which the one that came out of the other car was rusted in half. So I'm gonna have to straighten this out so original style radiator can fit in there. They kind of busted the tack wheels right here. I hate they did that. This was actually in the Firebird. You can see it on one of the other videos I did last year. Might have been earlier this year. I picked up a Firebird parts car, And this is a real good support. Like I say, I just gotta bend that back. It's supposed to be straight like this one here on each side, but some numbnuts wanted to put a bigger radiator in the car, and they beat the crap out of it to get it to fit. But you can see how toast this is. That's actually the battery tray. So it's already been sandblasted. Just need to be primered and painted after I fix where the radiator goes. I think I got a radiator for it. I can put it in there, and I can use this one as measurements to make sure we get it back straight. And I think it was another part of it I had to tack weld. Maybe it's just that part up there where they knocked it loose. It's supposed to be tack welded like that. But anyway, this rusty dude here can go outside for now. And we'll just use it for reference to fix that one. And we'll move along with getting the engine out. And then once I get the engine out and everything, I'll focus on getting this primered and painted. That way it can be drying, and put it somewhere where it won't get scratched up. And it'll be ready to go back in once we get the engine in and get it running. Probably wait on painting it. I might just primer it so that way that it won't rust back up. It hasn't been rusted, it's been in my storage, but I kind of want to get some primer on it anyway. And that way, when we do get ready to run it, because I really want to crank the engine up. I really want to crank it up before I decide if I'm going to put a cam in it or not. Might already have one in there. So I really want to hear that engine run. I've never heard it run. I was told it ran, but kind of be nice to hear it run before I really start doing other stuff to the car. I might pressure wash it first. I don't know about painting. Maybe we'll just drop the engine in there and get it running. We can always take it back out. I don't know. A lot of decisions to make. But it's going to start getting cold here pretty soon. We've been having some rain come through and the temperature's been dropping. Been kind of warm in the daytime and getting cold at night. So pretty soon it's going to be too cold to be outside pressure washing and sandblasting. So I really want to get the frame and stuff prepped and ready. That way if it gets too cold, all that'll be done. So goodbye rusty radiator support and hello new straight one. Well, it's officially moving day for this locked up 4.9 turbo motor. It has been served an eviction notice, so it is time to get this thing out of here for good. So, see what we can do. We got liftage. These old cast iron motors are heavy. She won't budge. There she goes. Let's go back here and see if we're doing any damage. It's got so many vacuum lines and wires and it's hard to see. Let the jack down soon. See where the exhaust is hitting there. frame while it's hitting the power steering. Ooh, that hurt. Ooh. Oh, the stud has got the doggone brake line. There we go. You're ready to come on out of there now. Let's see. Well, I'm gonna have to jack over. Come on, baby. Let me go make sure I ain't pulling on nothing, which I don't think I am. It's coming. It's gotta go up super high. We got the car up on the lift. Here it comes. They don't make them this easy no more. All right. Only thing I gotta do is pull her back and she'll be good to go now. She's coming on out. So, let me make sure there's nothing hooked to the transmission. I couldn't really see if I had everything unplugged up under there, but I'm going to find out here in a minute. Give a couple of shots, maybe for a thumbnail. Everything look clear down there. All right, let's get back to work. Enough of that. We got an engine to pull. I took one of my old drive shafts and put it in the back of the transmission. I got the yoke off of it, so won't have transmission fluid pouring everywhere. So if you're doing a GM job or any motor job that's rear-wheel drive, you got an extra drive shaft laying around that'll fit the transmission. I will put it in the back of it to keep fluid from coming out. I have seen people use plastic bags and stuff like that. They'll fill up with water. Not water. They'll fill up with transmission fluid. And as soon as you get the transmission out and set it down, the bag will get a hold of it, and then you got transmission fluid everywhere. So, but she's out, Stinky Pinky. Stinky Pinky. Thinking about Street Outlaws. I watched it last night. So there she is. We'll have to get it separated from the transmission. I got the two bottom torque converter bolts out, but by the engine being locked up, I couldn't get up in there to get the top one that's facing up. So I'm gonna have to just pull the transmission off of it, and then we'll have transmission fluid everywhere because it's some in the torque converter. But we got some mice action there. But yeah, it is out. All that space. So we'll get the pressure washer and get all this cleaned up, pressure washed up. And I made a boo-boo. I was taking the exhaust loose, the pipe that goes up to the turbo, and it smacked the air conditioning box, which I can fiberglass that up. But this converter, it is super heavy. I mean, this thing weighs a ton. I can see why these cars didn't have no power too, because the converter was so big. I just cut the pipe off right there. That's what hit the air box. I mean the heater evaporator core box. But yeah, we'll weigh this thing and see how much it weighs. I mean, it's pretty heavy. That's a lot of converter to put on an engine, and that'll hold back a lot of power. But anyway, it's out. Finally, I get this thing set down and make plans to get it split from the transmission. I'm thinking this is a is this a 700? Because it got the plug right there. This is an old 700 transmission? Surely, I don't think it's a 200 metric. We'll just have to do some research. I think you can count the transmission pan bolts. It might be a 350. Kind of looks like a 700 though, but I don't think they had 700s in 81. But we'll count those bolts. We'll make sure that's what it is. 350, 700. I just know the 700s had that plug on the side, and the 350 turbos didn't. But yeah, it's out. So let me get this thing down before it goes crashing down. Something happened. So I counted the transmission pan bolts, and according to what it says on my phone, which you probably really can't see, don't show up good on camera, huh? If it's 13 bolts and the pan's got that slant in it, it's gonna be a 350 turbo transmission. So that's what it is. It's a 350 turbo transmission. It's just got that electric plug on there. Now I was told that electric plug was for the electronic lockout. I've seen these way back when, long time ago, and I think if that plug is not plugged up, the transmission won't shift right. Quote me if I'm wrong, but I think on some of these electronic cars with the ECM, these won't shift right. But I got a regular 350 turbo, older one. I got two that don't have that plug. It's got the just regular side right here with the regular kick down. So this doesn't have, oh, here it is. It does have the passenger cable, what I'm thinking about. It's over here. But yeah, I got another 350 turbo that don't have that plug. So we'll probably be using it. Unless I can find out for sure on this here. Y'all can leave a comment on that. I might have been found out by the time I made this video. But seems like I can remember, if that's not plugged up, the transmission won't, I don't know if it's overdrive or whatever, but like I say, I got two more that we can use that don't have that. So yeah, it's out. So we'll try and get this thing split from the transmission, and probably get it up on the engine stand and take the heads off of it. Let's see what actually happened to it. Why is it so froze? It's got to be some stuck rings, pistons, rusting cylinders. It's got to be something like that. See if we can look in there. I don't think I can see in there. Nah, it's too dark, but yeah, we'll get it up on the engine stand, and we'll break it down and see what's up with it. I'm curious to see how bad are the cylinders, the reason why it's locked up. But the good thing is I got it out of there. We can get this thing ready for the new engine. So y'all just stay tuned. Be more coming up on the old Trans Am. And like I said, we'll pop the heads off that motor and see what it is. Keep leaving them comments, likes, and check out the Instagram page and the Facebook page. Be some updates that I probably won't show on camera. Some of it I will, some of it I won't. But it'll be some update pictures of some stuff I'm working on or something I found. So till next time, peace.